all of you KCXW and XWC fans. I am here with my fellow trainer, Adam Houck, and we are going to discuss XWC today.
Hi everybody, how you're doing? It's Adam Houck here. In the ring, you might know me as Jude, but yeah, we're gonna shoot the can a little bit, see what we got going on. Shoot, man, where'd you want to get started with?
Something that I want to talk about first of all is XWC.
Okay.
I don't want to talk about our history. I don't think that that's important today. What I think is important today is talking about what we're doing now.
Okay.
What we expect out of our students. Let's talk a little bit about the training. And I think we should just kind of touch base about what we do and maybe some of our success stories and maybe even talk about some of our failures. We can talk about just whatever we feel like.
There you go.
So the first thing I really think that a lot of people ask us is, or myself, is what does it take to get into the training? You know, I'm so old, I'm too young, I'm too overweight, I'm too out of shape, I'm too this, I'm too that. What does it take to get into the wrestling business?
Is this something I can do? Basically?
Yes, correct. Mm-hmm. They're always asking, is this something that, or can I do it? Mm-hmm. And so one thing that I know that our school values is giving someone the opportunity, because that's what our school is all about. It was giving myself and you an opportunity to show that we can contribute something to the wrestling business.
And in a lot of ways, I think both you and I, and you could say, for one reason or another, we shouldn't have had the opportunity to be in the business or whatever, and so part of the school is being able to give somebody who, through other means or through other people's eyes, maybe shouldn't have a say or doesn't get that option. We give them that opportunity, we give them that avenue to see if it is something for them, rather than trying to play gatekeeper or decide who's in, who's out, that kind of thing.
Now, let me play devil's advocate. Mm-hmm. There'd be a lot of old heads that would say, well, that's what's wrong with the wrestling business today. There's too many people getting in here. There's too many people that have access to it, and it's not what it used to be because anybody can get in nowadays. Would you say that maybe we let too many people in that shouldn't be in?
I think that just because we give them the opportunity, I think the system and the industry in a lot of ways has a pretty good filter for weeding its own kind of things out anymore. Just I mean, as many students as we've had come through, we've had somewhere between 250, 270 separate applicants. Mm-hmm. People who have at least come in, done a tryout, done a couple of classes. Of those, we're only looking at 60, maybe 70 graduates that have gone through the program and actually gotten to the point where they're really working matches and going out there. Mm-hmm. So I think part of our job as trainers, and what we do a pretty decent job of, is kind of weeding a lot of that chaff out from the beginning. Mm-hmm. And then as they get out into the system, and then as they get out kind of into, you can't really say the territories anymore because they don't really exist, but as they start running through the independents and they start in those small farm venues and whatnot, I think that wake-up call for a lot of people will weed a lot of that kind of second round out. So, okay,
so then let me pull it back to this then. So then whenever people say, hey, what does it take to become a wrestler? In order to become a wrestler, we have certain expectations that people have to meet in order to, quote-unquote, graduate our program. Mm-hmm. And when people do graduate our program, that basically says it's like a high school diploma. You're now free to go out and find your job. You're now free to go out and do what you want to do. So when people come in, we have a tryout that they have to go through. That's part of the weeding out system.
Yep.
And so some of the things that we do during the tryout, we make sure that they start off with good stretches. Mm-hmm. We make sure that they're limber. We make sure that, there isn't any injuries that show during that stretching portion of our tryout. And then we move on to basic agility and rolls and things like that. And then we go into calisthenics and cardio and strength training things, right? About a 30-minute process, sometimes an hour, depending on who you get, somewhere in between. And then we finish out with a promo to test your stage fright and to test your memorization to see if you have any charisma whatsoever, right?
Yes.
I feel like that's a great start, but people are so nervous about that alone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, just that confidence. I think that's one of the major key things that you need right off the bat in order to be able to become a wrestler, to be able to become a sports entertainer, whatever you want to call it.
I mean, at the end of the day, you're on stage, you're putting it on in front of all these people, you're having to show what you can do, and you're having to show it, like you say, with confidence.
Mm-hmm.
You can't go out there and be afraid of what's in front of you, otherwise it eats you alive. That's the nature of an interactive crowd, that's the nature of, live performance, that's the nature of even, you go to UFC and MMA, if you can't perform as well as take command and take charge and look ass, if you can't perform on top of that, you don't move forward to a certain extent. So
correct. There's a showmanship in everything. Mm-hmm. Everyone's always looking for that next entertainer because that's always the biggest seller, is the most entertaining person. It might not be the best wrestler or the best boxer or the best MMA fighter that sells the most tickets. It's the most entertaining. It's the one that captures your attention the most, normally. But again, it takes confidence to do that.
Yes.
And obviously, we've helped people of all different walks of life. I mean, we've had people come in 16 years old, bare minimum age to start training, and they graduated about a year and 2 months, and it's still in the state of Missouri because of our laws, they couldn't
wrestle for another 8 months or so. Yeah,
right. It was crazy. And then we've also helped people who were extremely overweight, almost 40 years old, and they're like, I just want to have one match,
and it turns into a couple years and a heck of a ride, and meeting a hero.
Yeah, exactly. So we're here to help all walks of life. I've had people come in from other training schools saying, this just isn't working for me. We've had people come in who were rejected from tryouts. I mean, they literally went from one tryout, came from that tryout to our tryout. And again, the vibe is different. Maybe we don't have that old school weed them out by stretching them mentality, but we do have the weed them out by pushing the physical side of things. We want to make sure that people understand that cardio is our number one concern.
Yeah.
I believe that it's important to have strength, obviously. It's important to be athletic. But if you can't run a mile...
If you don't have the gas to lift, you don't have the gas to lift. I don't care if you lift 350 pounds and bench it 19 times. If you run out of gas, you aren't pushing that anymore.
Right.
And that becomes an issue.
Right, 100%. So whenever people come in, I guess tip number one when you want to do a tryout with us and you're real concerned about anything, number one, make sure you just have confidence in yourself, right? And number two would be cardio.
Yes.
Anything else, I would say just make sure you're in good health. Make sure that you're injury-free. If you do have any old injuries, you know how to protect them. You know how to work through it. And know your limits, 100%. Everyone that comes into the center isn't looking to be the next... who are the top guys right now? Kenny Omega, Roman Reigns.
Seth Rollins, even
exactly.
Daniel Bryan. It's kind of interesting. Everybody's going to have a different spot, and everybody's going to have a different role. And part of the joys of professional wrestling or sports entertainment is the fact that there are so many roles to fill because it's such a large ensemble, type of environment. And so there's definitely a way to find a role for that person if they've got the drive within themselves to make that work for them.
So, I think it's important that when people come in, if they just have a passion for wrestling, they'll get there if they put in the work. And I mean truly put in the work. Which kind of brings me to one of our first success stories. I feel that you can tell the difference right off the bat and who's going to be successful and who's not going to be successful in our training program. Like you said, we can weed them out pretty quickly in the beginning of who's going to work and who's not going to work.
Yes.
Again, through our failures we've learned, as well as our successes. But one of our most recent successes, and we can openly talk about it now, is Cameron Burnett.
Yeah, we had to sit on that one until we got, I mean, not we, but, you know, she was given the official go-ahead to say, yeah, this is happening. But it was that, and I think even just, it kind of blew my mind how quick it kind of happened, because we're talking about like 4 years in or something, about around there, 4 or 5 years in. So I had the confidence that, you know, we would get there as a school to where we had a success story of some magnitude. I was a little surprised, honestly, that our training hit as quick as it did, but it was something that, you know, she was telling us when she was going to different seminars, our training was standing out for different things because of how solid our basics are. And that was one of the things that was instantly pushing her kind of up to the front of a lot of people's radars when she was going out and doing these things, was we were really making sure that those basics were solid and those basics were really kind of in Loctite. Because 100%. And I've told this to trainees before when I was breaking things down to them, it doesn't matter if you can do a 630 flip, it doesn't matter if you can lift 800 pounds, if you can't get the basics done right, they don't want to look at the rest of it. And so you got to make sure that those fundamentals are there, and that she's definitely somebody that really set those fundamentals in. And, you know, we helped make sure that when she was putting them in, she knew where to put them in. And she was able to get some good advice from other people along the way, and it just really catapulted her straight on up that ladder.
Absolutely. So let's be more specific. What's the success about her? She got signed to a WWE developmental deal.
She's officially an NXT roster member, working down at the Performance Center. I mean, getting her butt kicked in cardio drills that she's never even seen in her life, and you know, and she was getting tips on how to prepare for it. But when you prepare and when you get hit with the real thing, you know, it's a whole other level sometimes.
Absolutely. Everyone talks about how wrestling is a different type of athleticism. And it 100% is. You have to be able to go from position 1, gear 1, to gear 5, back to gear 3, back to gear 5. There's really no other sport that involves the up-down that wrestling has. I mean, literally ground up, ground up, ground up. It's crazy.
Imagine running a series of drag races for 10 miles, basically. You're burning a quarter mile, and then you bring it down to 60, and then you burn a quarter mile, and you bring it down to 60, and you burn another quarter mile. And you have to be able to get those reserves in the tank to keep running and keep burning and keep pushing.
Exactly.
So you can do the big thing 25 minutes into your absolute, you know, barn rocker of a match.
Right. Absolutely. So the cool thing about the Brene thing is that she made it. We got her there with the help of our trainers. You know, we had Derek Stone on staff at the time. We had yourself, myself. I don't want to leave anyone out. I believe Jake was on staff at the time. Akeley was on staff at the time.
She went through Tommy Snow days.
Yeah, she went through several of our trainers.
Yeah, I mean, she got a gamut, and that was, again, one of the big pros of this school that we've been able to deliver that most other places can't really deliver on. You get the name and the guy that the name kind of assigns to run the school most places, whereas you come in here and, you know, it's trained by committee. You're getting several different views, you're getting several different looks at you, and so different people can say, okay, that's an awesome idea, look at it this way too, and you can pick and choose from all those different viewpoints, and you can really build yourself a nice solid package. And that was something she was able to do because she had so many different eyes helping her along the way.
Exactly. So I like bragging about Brene. She's a real awesome person, but I want to go ahead and let her speak for herself.
All right. Yeah.
I think that she can say it best, so I think we have a video.
Good at it.
Yeah, right? So we have a video from Brene. Let's see if we can pull that up.
Is always here, always ready. But one thing that you guys can get, being, you know, co-captains, being the part of Team Babe, come down to Extreme Wrestling Center, get your training on, learn how to do power bombs, suplexes, spine busters. Everything you need to know is right here in Kansas City. So let's go, Extreme Wrestling Center.
So, there you go.
Yes.
Right?
I mean,
I think that, again, having that first success story, right, a major one, right, to the biggest company that there is.
I mean, you talk about what's most people's dreams when they come walking in. You know, I want to do WWE. I want to do WWE. I want to do AEW, different things like that. But I mean, even before you had Impact, but you want to hit for the major leagues right off the bat. That's a pretty good way to shoot. You know.
Absolutely, and so I was saying earlier that how you train and your attitude when you come in and how you deal with those issues is what's going to make you successful and not successful. We can tell, again, confidence and attitude.
Everybody's going to have a roadblock. And everybody's roadblock's going to be different. It's how you push past that roadblock.
100%. So she came in very down on herself when she very first came in.
Almost. I don't want to sound like I'm saying, but almost timid.
Yeah, absolutely. And there would be many nights that we had to push through barriers, many nights that we had to absolutely fight through tears and fight through gritting our teeth and yelling at one another, and several nights that, I mean, were just super frustrating, but
taking metaphorical leaps of faith.
Absolutely. But here we are. Total success story.
For sure.
And so that brings me, I want to talk about a failure that we had.
Okay.
And normally people don't like to wave their dirty laundry out there, but I feel that due to the way I used to be, I learned that 100% honesty and transparency is the best way to go.
Especially it's the digital age of everything that exists everywhere has been uploaded onto a scanner at some point in time, so if it exists, somebody who's bored on Twitter will find it one day.
Right. So there's no need to sugarcoat things, and there's no need to really, I think, hide a bunch of things. So I want to be upfront and just talk about some of our failures.
Yeah.
And so one of the failures that I want to talk about is a couple of our first graduates. I don't want to really go name calling and talking negative because they were our failures.
Yes.
You know, it's not necessarily the students. When we can't recognize bad attitudes, when we can't recognize when people are being false, when we can't recognize that the training isn't sticking, or we aren't committing to letting that person know, hey, maybe this isn't for you. And that happened a lot with our first, second, and third.
Really the first 2 years, solid.
Yeah. Those first generations. We had a couple people that would come in and train and wouldn't finish the program and would just start working. Right? They were like, oh, well,
I've learned enough.
Right. Correct. And unfortunately, there's a lot of other promotions out here that are just desperate for people to work with them. They're like, well, I don't care if they finish that program or not. They can obviously put on a match that I want them to put on. So I'll book them anyways. So there's part of that issue I think we were talking about earlier with, anyone can get into the business nowadays, and that's why these people really need to be weeded out and tested. So, it's one of those things that's our responsibility. That's our failure. You know, when we teach too much, I've been told that, certain schools, you can get your first match within 2 months.
Whew.
And then there's other schools that they're like, no.
Not even for like a year and a half or so, yeah.
Absolutely. You don't get anything for like a year and a half. And we get people basic match ready. Honestly, they're doing practice matches 3 months in, 4 months in. So they're picking up the basics, they're drilling, and we're expecting our students to come in for sports entertainers or workers, wrestlers. I like calling them wrestlers.
It's on the name, it's on the t-shirt like 3 times. We're wrestlers until you get to the big place and they decide what it says on your paycheck,
Right. Right. So we've had guys that are real egocentric I'll even say graduate our program. And
absolutely.
And maybe it's because I felt obligated because they spent so much time with our program that I was like, maybe they'll learn once they get the graduation stamp that they'll be able to move on and do whatever. The biggest thing that I've learned through this process is that everyone that comes through our school represents us, represents me as the head trainer for the school. If these graduates that do graduate with the big egos, I mean, they've gone on and they may have like one promotion that loves them to death. They're like, oh yeah, this person, I'll book them every time and I'll even give them titles and this and that, but it's always just
the one place
promotion. Maybe that promotion will have a tie-in promotion to it, but that's neither here nor there. But our failures, I guess, is we need to learn better about checking egos at the door and making sure that whenever we establish that people are not graduated, that we let other companies know. I mean, we need to be more bulldogish about it.
A little bit, and I think that's something that we had to kind of learn on the fly.
Yeah.
Kind of with one example, because, word got around long before they were ready for anything, that they were talking to somebody. We had to make sure that we were reaching out on our end, letting this person know, hey, here's the deal, here's where the scoop is on this. So it's, teaching the inside of the ring and even teaching the promo part, teaching the work part of the business is one thing. Right. Learning to navigate the sea of the industry is a whole other thing. Right,
which we've learned the hard way, and we've been shown the right way too.
Yes.
Thankfully, we've had a lot of old heads go, hey, your work is really, really good, but you need to learn these things. And that was something that I was never good at, was politics in the back. I was never good with keeping my mouth shut, or I kept my mouth shut too much, one of the two. So we've navigated those waters, which thankfully, because of our training and because of our backstage politics, word's gotten around. And I want to talk about one of our other success stories. I want to talk about recently how we had Mike Bennett in for a seminar. And so when Mike came in for the seminar, and this happened with Chris Masters as well, when he came in for his seminar, they always want to test you with a lot of the basic stuff in the beginning.
They want to see kind of where their group is at, and then, okay, it's almost like they're stepping in and they're working a match with somebody they've never seen before. All right, let's kind of see where we start at, see what they know. Can we move on from here or not?
Right. So the greatest thing about the Chris Masters seminar is that whenever he was running it, in the beginning he had his, I don't know if it was girlfriend or just traveling partner.
His personal trainer for sure. Like
right.
she had his regiments and everything. He was talking about how she had his regiments, and I think she was doing his meal planning and everything.
Oh yeah,
she had him down on metrics.
Right, and so she went through some basic stretching and I think some calisthenics in the beginning, some real super simple stuff, but again helpful.
Oh yeah,
it helped me add some new things to our tryout. Stretching in the beginning.
Changing, one of the things that she had was helping how you change position just for doing some basic warm-ups because of the body muscles that you specifically need for wrestling, how to train those specifically other than your standard little warm-ups.
Correct. So if I know that someone has like a knee injury, I'll be able to focus more on leg calisthenics things and leg stretches to really see if that knee is bothering them or not.
Yeah.
And what that range with the knee is.
What that looks like.
And if I can get that person to say nope by stretching, I don't have to go through the tryout anymore. I don't have to worry about, okay, high knee lifts now we're worrying about jumping jacks, now we're worrying about bag jumps and all that other stuff.
Blowing anything out we don't need to,
right.
Yeah.
I'm already testing it specifically because of her. I have a much better range of doing that.
Nice.
And then so Chris goes into his thing, and we go through it quickly because normally he spends hours on these things, because normally when people go to seminars, they're new, they're fresh. And the cool thing about our Chris Masters seminar is that even though our guys were new, they still know these drills. They still know these basics because that's what we freaking drill so much.
There's a reason we do it.
Right, exactly. So we go through it, and he has this thing where, the 2-pin drill, and then he's got, basic standard reversals, and going through basic Irish whip spots. We go through it so quick, he's like, no, y'all need to do practice matches in front of me. I'm going to give you detailed notes.
Mm-hmm.
And then so Mike Bennett comes in with Brandon. What's Brandon's last name?
Bishop.
Brandon Bishop. Okay. So Brandon and Mike come in, and it's almost like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, they're looking at us, and they're like, okay, how many years in? Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. And, you know, some guys are like, I just started.
Yeah.
And some guys are, you know,
5 years in.
5-6 years in since we first started.
Oh, yeah.
And so Mike's testing the room out, and Brandon's testing the room out, and all of a sudden he's like, no, we're going to switch this up a little bit. And then so it became very
personalized.
Yeah, person specific.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's one of the coolest things is that, you know, once he did the seminar part with everyone, he was just like, keep doing what you're doing. Just add. His biggest thing to our training is that just more emotion, more real emotion. Don't try to fake emotion. You can tell the difference between fake emotion and real emotion. So we need to tap into that real emotion.
Don't make it be it.
Right. Not just in promos, but in the match too. You need to be able to feel your match, not just literally go from moment to moment to moment, or spot, or however you want to say it.
I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's storytelling, and if there's no emotion in the story, you know, if it's just shooting in Star Wars and you don't know why, you don't get invested and you don't keep following.
Right.
So you have to be able to create that investment for people, and that's the big key. And so for sure, that's something that we're really upping the game on now.
Oh, 100%. I know that our promos have gotten better. I know that our practice matches have gotten better, just from simply people. Okay.
Message from the production desk.
Right. Noted. So I think that by having Mike in, and Brandon especially, I don't want to count Brandon out at all because he was a huge part of this.
He was a huge asset, especially in drawing out that emotion, working on that promo, really getting people into kind of... one of the things I kind of liked about him is if he was trying to get something out of somebody, he would go in and he'd push that button a little, because almost like a director behind the camera, a little... who's it I'm trying to... Almost a little bit like Hitchcock. If I poke your buttons enough, I'll get what I want out of you.
Man. Inside tip for all of you people that need to know, Stanley Kubrick, my favorite director ever, and he was the king of fucking torturing.
You're going to do 500 takes of this, and I'm not going to tell you that the birds are coming for you each time.
And we don't even know if there's film in the camera right now. Action.
Go. I don't care.
Oh, man. Talk of method acting.
Yes.
So I think that we have established that better in our training. But again, the success story about it, him and Chris Masters and 90% of our seminars is that the wrestlers, the person giving the seminar feels better after they've given.
Absolutely, yeah.
They're like, oh my gosh.
It's almost re-energizing for them to see, to come in and see a place where, you know, the students are eager to learn from them, and the students can do more than just, all right, let's work on your bump, let's work on your rolls. You know, they can they can very quickly, all right, let me see what I can do for you. And I think that does make it a lot more fun for guys when they come into the seminars, because they can very quickly make it kind of a personalized individual thing.
Oh, absolutely, and we ask the right questions too. I mean, we want to know. We're there to pick their brains.
Yes.
Exactly like you said. So when Mike was done with his seminar portion, him and Brandon, they had a match with Marksman.
Yes.
And we recorded that match, and it's now on YouTube.
Yep.
KCXW's YouTube. What's that link, Jason? What's that link? What's our KCXW link for the YouTube?
I think it's KCXW Wrestling Videos on YouTube.
Oh. All right.
He
My
can't find the
production
graphic.
guy doesn't know.
Nah, graphic failure.
Oh, no.
All right.
Oh, no.
So you can check that out. It's on our Facebook. If you go there, we got links there. On our Instagram, we got links there. KCXW Wrestling. But he wrestled Marksman. And the cool thing is Mike was talking about going in your uncomfortable zone and trying to be comfortable there.
Being comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Guess what Marksman did? made Mike uncomfortable with more groundwork than what he's used to.
Ooh.
Right, correct.
Grappler.
So with us being heavy in chain and grappling, it took him
out of his element.
Especially
because where he had been most recently, that's not the focus whatsoever. So it's kind of a nice shock back to the system, I'd say.
Oh, man, yeah. He said it was refreshing, and it made him really have to live what he said during the seminar.
Prove your mettle.
Absolutely. So whenever it was all said and done, he had some really nice things to say about our company and about us. So I think we have some video of that.
This corner? That corner?
That corner. This side. That's
maybe on the
down there.
Corner.
Up there.
Who knows?
What's up, guys? Mike Bennett, former WWE wrestler, current Ring of Honor wrestler, former Impact wrestler, hopefully New Japan wrestler again. I am here at the XWC, and look, I have been all around the world. I've wrestled some of the best. I've been fortunate enough to wrestle some of the best, and I can promise you, I can guarantee you, I am telling you, if you want to be a professional wrestler, this is the place to go. Show up here, they know what they're doing, they train well, they train the best way possible in this area. I am telling you, personal experience. Come here to XWC.
Without going too specific in names. So, Mike Bennett.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolute treat to have. Dude was wonderful. I know if you're looking to check out more of that kind of stuff, Asai TV was where they were actually in the process of filming kind of like a little mini documentary series of Bennett kind of finding his love for wrestling again, and we got to be like one of the last few stops on the train there for him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so it's on Asai TV. I believe the show is called I Love This Shit. They've wonderfully kind of moved that into, ampersands and all that good stuff. But it's up on asytv.com. I believe it premiered back on the 18th, so hot and fresh off the presses. That first episode just came out.
Oh, nice. I have to check that out, see if I'm on it.
Yeah.
So I think that if people are interested, we talked about training, we've talked about 2 success stories and a failure on our end. If people are interested right now for signing up for training, where could they sign up at?
Easiest way I'd say is to go find us on Facebook, Extreme Wrestling Center. Shoot us a message through there. We can usually hop on.
I'll do that. That's my pitch, buddy. That's my pitch.
Let me run my job.
Let me do my job, Mr. Producer.
One of the easiest ways is hop on Facebook, shoot us a quick message, through Facebook right there on the XWC, because we can usually respond pretty quickly. If that doesn't work, if you really need to talk to us, kind of on a little bit more personal, audible way, what's the other way?
I say give us a phone call. If you don't have the internet or you feel like your typing isn't good enough or things are going to be mistranslated, just give us a call. The phone goes to all the trainers' phones, so you don't know who's going to answer, but a trainer will answer for you.
It's like the WWF hotline.
Our phone number is 816-535-0870. Area code again, 816-535-0870. If you don't get a hold of us, leave us a message. We will call you back. Or just call back in an hour and someone will eventually answer. I think that by having, I say too much, whenever you have contact with us directly by having the messenger, again, one of the trainers will respond with you as quickly as we possibly can. The messenger is always saved right there so we can get to you immediately. All our trainers are going to try to be quick and responsive. But sign up. Give us a call. Come check out the place. You don't even have to sign up for a tryout. I want people to come in and check out the center because it's a cool place to be.
Oh, yeah.
So I want to talk about one other failure that we have as a school, but we fixed it. Okay. When we first started out, we were very, I guess you'd say, I feel we were very spot heavy.
Yes.
Even though chain was our bread and butter, Right. Even though we got really good at that.
I mean, when you trained me up initially, it was memorize this 10-point thing and run it. Memorize this 15-point thing and run it.
Right.
Do it 3 more times. Now add in your own little bit to it.
Right. And so the reason I trained that way initially was because I felt that it would train you to be fast. It would train you to be here, up, and know your thing. I would try to add psychology to those spots, obviously, but I learned so much.
Yes.
So by going through this process of starting off with learning spots, I mean, obviously, calling up a tie-up, arm ringers, hammer locks, top wrist locks, leg sweeps, single leg takedowns, double leg takedowns, the whole gamut of chain work we were doing, obviously, but it would go literally from chain to spot. Right?
Off into the races.
Right. So one of the big corrections that we've done recently, well,
not even recently,
a while ago, is by teaching our guys to really work in between those moments. One of the things that I always tried to say to my guys is, if you think you're going slow, go slower.
Yes.
You think you're going too slow, go slower.
Slower.
Correct. So I feel that because we're going slower, because we're feeling it out more, because we're really slowing down that momentum, we've actually gotten away, and our guys are now hindered when it comes to those long spots.
They're not as ready to memorize. They're not as ready to go. They're almost kind of looking a little bit more for that direction in a way.
Correct. In my opinion, I think that, my favorite way to do a match now is just call it all out there. That's my favorite way to do it now. I used to be the guy, though, that I would write out the whole match beat by beat and just hand it to you.
Well, I can tell you that was how I had to learn to call a match. I was pretty lucky enough my first few years that everybody I was going in there with had a pretty good idea of what they were doing, and then there was that point, I want to say it was like 2012, where you put me in against somebody who the wrestling robot that he is, you input and program him and he does everything perfectly. The second you say, hey, what do you have? Blank input. And so I had to learn to put the entire match together. And so my first match was literally written out almost like a 5-paragraph essay. I mean, literally like dot for dot for dot.
Yeah, and that's how I used to do it. I mean, that's how I really used to do it. And so it's hindered us now with those longer spots. But thankfully our training, especially with our vet guys, we're now getting that worked out. We've been working on it. And it's never, like, I don't want to make it seem like there's a crutch there or there's a huge handicap there. I just know that their spots are smaller. They want to go from beat to beat or just work the whole thing. It's like it's hard to blend in the spot without seeing that, oh, here's the spot. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I think that even though that's one of our hindrances and one of our failures, I don't want to say that it's hindered us too much, because I want to end on our last success story that I want to talk about tonight. And that is how one of our most recent graduates before the COVID pandemic hit.
I mean, like right before, dang near.
Yep. He graduated our program, and now he is on AEW's
pre-show
every week. He's been on there 3 weeks in a row now.
I mean, just bang, 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 yeah. I mean, he was fortunate enough to, get a spot down with Cody Rhodes' Nightmare Factory. Even though he had a little bit of training with us, they were initially trying to get people who had done, absolutely zero at the start of it. But he got down there, and thanks in large part to, what we kind of gave him as a good foundation, they very quickly took a shine to him, and, he was main eventing Cody's showcase show. And, as soon as they could put him on Dark, he's boom, boom, boom 3 weeks in a row, and he's just lighting it up for him.
So pronouns, who is he?
He is Dean Alexander.
Okay, so Dean Alexander. The cool thing about Dean Alexander is he's one of those guys that whenever he first started, he was just like, this is a hobby. I mean, I'd love to make it a job. but I don't know. I'm older. I'm only so much in shape.
He was one of those guys. He was one of those guys that very much thought coming in that, in a way, the ship had passed him by in some regards, and
100%.
that big place wasn't going to be something that he could get to. But the work that you put in, and sometimes the eyes that you get in front of, that can make a lot of the difference. And
Right.
he found some great opportunities he could take advantage of, and he got in front of the right people and showed what he could do.
100%. So I feel that because he had that opportunity, because he had our training, and he specifically said, because of the basics that we gave him, it leaps and bounds in front of everyone else.
Oh, yeah.
He got to do that main event, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
And ever since, he's been showcased on these shows. Now, I think it's pretty cool. He's still got a lot of growing to do. He's still got more to learn, obviously. But
I mean, he's still very much putting together the package in some regards, but it's already starting to look like a really great build that he's got going. So.
Absolutely.
And I mean, AEW's got a pretty good stack of people to learn from too. So I'd say he's got some good tutelage to kind of help build that together at the same time.
100%.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel that because of our training and because of how he is going through this success right now, that is our success as well. Mm-hmm. I feel that it is a success for everyone. Mm-hmm. All these success stories that we've had, and we have more that we're going to talk about on the next one, obviously. We've got some kids over in Japan right now. So we need to really press to everyone that's listening to this that if you feel like XWC is a questionable place for you to train, we're the type of place that we want you to come down and just check us out. Mm-hmm. The cool thing about us is a tryout's only $30, and a practice is $20.
Yep.
If you want to practice, we're open 6 days a week right now, Monday through Friday from 6 p.m. till 9 p.m. and Saturday 9 a.m. until noon.
Bright and early.
Yes. So if you have a show later that day, but you have something you want to work out that Saturday morning,
you've got some time to figure out, make sure it works before you get in front of people.
So if people want to just come check us out during our open hours, please come check us out. Mm-hmm. I want people to come in and watch part of our practice, see if it's for you. I mean, we're not going to let you sit through the whole thing, but see if it's something you're even interested in.
And I think something that we haven't touched on too much that is, again, one of the better aspects of our school is we don't want just brand new people coming in. We don't want people we don't, as much as we love training people from the ground up, one of the great things that we've prided ourselves on from the beginning is, hey, if you're just looking to work some ring rust off, if you're just looking to stay in ring shape while you bounce from booking to booking and things like that, we want vets to come in too.
Absolutely. There's a reason that our graduates continue to train with us after the fact. There's a reason that people from out of state, whenever they're traveling through, they're like, "Oh, I absolutely need to stop."
We've had people from the New England states stop in and take some practice sessions here. We've had people from Arizona while they're coming up to work stop in and sit through some practices. And then again, just the more people like that come in, the more different viewpoints of knowledge that you get, the more all of our students benefit from.
Absolutely. Our philosophy is that it's all ice cream. It's
flavors.
Your flavor. Yeah. 100% your flavor.
Wrestling is Baskin Robbins. You just got to figure out which one is yours. Are you the baseball nut crunch or are you strawberry?
Right. Mm-hmm. And the cool thing about our training is we base ourselves in chain. We base ourselves in basics. But like you said, when vets come in, I've had vets be like, I don't think I could ever hit this move. And then 2 minutes in, they're hitting the move. Mm-hmm. They have a problem with this one spot or this chain. Mm-hmm.
That's one of my favorite things is when they come in, they're like, well, I've got this move, but I just don't know how to put it in or when it's supposed to happen, and figuring out how to put that sequence together so they can make something, so they can get their own little trademark going on. Right. I think that's one of the more fun things to do when we get vets in is, hey, let's take your pieces and let's really make them flourish and make them yours.
Right, 100%. I feel that that's another thing of our bread and butter right now is that we are awesome at teaching psychology.
That was, again, you were talking about how our training changed from kind of the spot to a little bit to the work a couple of years in, and one of the things that I think we got real big on was asking people constantly the why are you doing this, the why are you putting this here, and forcing them to think about it and kind of put it into context that makes sense, because at the end of the day, if your story doesn't make sense, you can't follow.
Absolutely. And so we can talk about that on our next cast. We can talk about the importance of the psychology and how we tell people to work backwards.
Yeah.
And I feel that we have some good points with that. So if you're interested, just come check us out. If you feel that, your training is kind of stalled, come in. If you feel like you've heard some negative things and just want to check us out yourself, come check us out yourself.
See if the rumors are true, see if they're wrong. We want you to come check it out. That's the idea. We want you, 100%. We don't want you to hear from other people what we are. We want you to come in and decide for yourself what we are.
100%. I feel that if you check us out yourself, you'll have firsthand say of how things go. And myself as the head trainer down there, I want nothing but everyone to come in and feel welcome. I want everyone to come in and feel like this is a place that they're going to learn from. I want it to be a no judgment zone. When people come in, we have people from all ethnicities. We have people from all gender aspects and ratios. We have people from all different backgrounds.
Well, I think one of the things that's kind of worked to our benefit, and it's worked to our students' benefit, is we really kind of build almost like a small, loose-knit, like family atmosphere with a lot of our students, to where, even after they graduate and they keep on, a lot of them, they still travel together in groups. They still watch each other's backs in locker rooms. When one succeeds, they're all celebrating. And so, that's one of the things that I really do like about this school is our students feel that they have a true connection to each other, and we help foster that atmosphere for them.
Absolutely. When one of our students gets on Raw, one of our students gets on AEW, and one of our students gets on SmackDown, that's a victory for the school.
Oh, yeah.
And that's happened so many times, and we just keep building a good foundation, and we're going to keep growing 100%. So to wrap things up here, I want to say that, again, if you're interested in checking us out, just come check us out. If you're wanting to see the reviews on Google, Facebook, I believe we're at mostly 5 stars.
We're solid.
You're right. If you have any questions, give us a call. Again, 816-535-0870. Hit us up on Facebook. Hit us up on Instagram. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on all social medias if you want.
All at once.
If you want to, just come check us out. I believe our address is 11513 East 63rd Street, Raytown, Missouri. XWC, right in big bold letters, right above our...
Big old shiny white.
Right. So check us out. Give us a call. And Adam, thank you for your time.
Of course.
I appreciate it.
Thanks for
Producer Jason, thank you for your time. Hopefully you did a wonderful job.
Yay!
I'll figure that out here in a moment.
Eventually we'll get you a camera so you can wave to us during these moments.
I need a monitor. Okay, everyone, thank you, and have a wonderful day.
See ya.